CBS News, Detroit.
All right, welcome back. You know, the average American household expects to spend nearly $900 on back-to-school shopping this year. That number actually seems a little bit low when you think about it. Overall, the National Retail Federation says back-to-school spending, it's actually expected to reach a record high, $41 billion. That is billion with a B. So some questions are, what are some ways that you can save on some of those essentials? So some helpful tips. We are joined this morning by financial advisor and also founder of Bridge River Advisors, which is in Bloomfield Hills, Dan Casey. Dan, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So this is kind of the time of year, you know, we're almost to August where parents are starting to think, okay, I've got to start checking some things off the list.
Yes.
And it can get really expensive.
Yes, especially when I've noticed too, when I take my kids to Target or wherever you buy your supplies, you know, and they just start putting stuff in.
Always a bad idea.
Always a bad idea. And you get caught up in the excitement because they're excited, right? So they're just throwing stuff in, and yeah, you can walk away and you can easily see how you can get to $900 a household, right, to buy all these supplies. So it's crazy.
And if you take them with you, the list just gets longer and longer.
Yes.
So I try to avoid doing that as much as possible.
Yeah.
So what are some ways that parents can save specifically when we're talking about that list of school supplies?
Yeah, so what we used to do is we try to make kind of a game out of it, but we would give them a budget. So we kind of let them figure out, you know, so do they want this new backpack like we were discussing? Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to take, you know, a lot of the budget. So maybe you can't get your favorite mechanical pencils or whatever the heck they want. So it would be fun. And we could say, well, you know, I bet you at the dollar store we could get the paper for a lot. So maybe we can get the backpack. So we kind of let them try to make the decision of how to spend that money.
And then are there some alternatives to those traditional school supplies that we, you know, need every single year? Yeah,
so probably, again, like garage sales, dollar store, things like that. Of course, using last year's product, you know, that's they never want to do that. But if it's still in great condition, you know, maybe they can. Again, if you give them that budget and say, hey, if we use last year's backpack, maybe we can get, you know, the other stuff that you really want, like the earbuds that is on the list or whatever that they want.
And I know, you know, for some families looking for sales or coupons or discounts, what are some ways that families can take advantage of some of those things?
Yeah, I was doing some research too, and you could also buy, like, if they need mechanical pencils or whatever, and you know they're going to ask for more halfway through the year, buy them in bulk. Only give them, you know, what they need for that part, and then that way you've already got them and you don't have to go back to the store. I did some research too on just like the pricing, and I thought Amazon was going to be a lot cheaper than like just like your local Target. Really wasn't. It was about the same price. It tends
to be a little bit more expensive too at times, I think, as it gets closer to the start of the school year.
And they all have their minimums of how much you have to spend to get the free shipping. So, but I found sometimes too that if we skip the store and we just all sit down in front of the computer at Amazon, it's sometimes a lot. It avoids throwing the stuff in the basket.
And you mentioned, though, as you all sit in front of the computer. So I think one of the biggest questions is, how do you kind of involve your kids and get them, you know, in there to participate without actually blowing the budget?
Yes, and that's just back to, I think, giving them a budget, letting them make the decision. They're in control, and then they start to say, oh wow, I can, you know, get my favorite supplies if I skip on this or skip on that, or.
And have them kind of be a part of the process.
Exactly.
And so really quickly before we go, what are the products that families tend to spend the most money on?
I think it's like what we were discussing, the backpacks, of course, right? They always have to have the new backpacks, and the tech items, of course, that a lot of times that they're required to have, or like the earbuds and things like that. So odds are the kids already have earbuds.
Sure.
So use what you've got and maybe skip it this year.
All right. Good advice. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. Special thanks, Dan Casey from Bridge River Advisors in Bloomfield Hills.